Welcome. You are here with Dr. Nilda Perez with Business Foresight, creating strategies towards your extraordinary future. Awesome. So just as promised, I said that I would have pop-ups, and I told you that I would have some awesome guests. And I have here today Dane Marrero. And
thank you.
I'm very excited to have you. I'm telling you, this is going to be an awesome interview.
Thank you.
So, okay. So, oh dear. We have an audience, as you can tell. Okay, so I'm going to give you I'm going to give you Dane's if you hear a lot of noise, we're in Florida and there's a tornado watch, but the show must go on, okay?
Never boring.
Never
no
boring.
Florida weather's boring.
Absolutely. So Dane is the CEO of Synergy Health Lab. He has 11 years experience in personal training and life coaching, his story is amazing. He also does customized program development. He has a certification in the National Master Personal Trainer,
National Personal Training Institute's Master Personal Trainer, yes. Correct.
There we go. And he's also the NSCA Advanced Weight Training. He has a certification in that also, which helps helps with Olympic movement proficiency.
100%. That was accurate. Perfect.
Perfect. Okay. So I want to start with the first question, which is, what is Synergy Health Lab?
Oh, that's a big question, and the simplest way I can answer it is synergy being the fact that we're combining different resources to optimize people's health. And the reason I like to use the word lab is that this is a laboratory, and what we do in here is we're testing to see what works. And we have a very guided template in regards to using what works in regards to the Myers-Briggs. We use a mind-body thing for that.
Okay. Okay. So with personal training being a dime a dozen, because we know that there are personal trainers everywhere. Mm-hmm. Okay, what makes you different? What makes what you do different? Because I think to me that was the most fascinating when you started explaining to me, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted you on the show. Mm. What?
Me personally, I found that tapping into people's psychology made it a lot easier to change their physiology. And so being able to inspire them and also find the stressors was very important to me in regards to maxing out weight loss and also inspiring my clients to make life changes. Okay. And I found that it was different for a lot of people, and I was really trying to figure out what made each person different, and I really stumbled upon the Myers-Briggs as a way to tap into those motivations.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you have kind of combine the psychology of an individual, personality, characteristics, right, with the program that you develop for them. 100%.
So what we use is a way to distinguish maybe where somebody might be neurologically deficient.
Okay.
There's four major neurochemical groupings that we look at, especially under the typology. And so we'll actually test for that with simple questions in order to find out maybe where the person is depleted in certain neurochemicals. And we're able to reestablish their psychology through exercise, diet, lifestyle changes, and we really develop it around that person's, once again, typology. And it's a Carl Jung typology that we use in order to identify what maybe nutrients are most beneficial for the brain and body. So not just the body, but looking at it as a way to nourish the brain for higher cognitive output, or I like to say like reaching your full potential. So that's why I say I'm not just a personal trainer. I like to think of myself more as a life coach, is because we really are having a lot of lifestyle changes within the program.
Let me ask a question, Dave.
Yeah.
Sure. How does having your brain chemistry and your body what does that entail? Like, how does that combine together to reach your ultimate goal of losing weight?
That's a great question, and the best example I can give is looking at people's quote-unquote dopamine levels, and this is something that we can once again quantify through the test that we give here at Synergy Health Lab. When we're able to find out if they're dopamine depleted or otherwise, this will not only lead to motivation depletion, but actual increase in body fat. And it's scientifically proven that dopamine depletion and body fat increase go hand in hand. And what happens is after the age of 35, we end up in dopamine neuropause, where the body doesn't produce as much of this neurochemical without certain type of stimulation. What I emphasize in here is trying to stimulate those places that might be depleted, and we do it through a physical output. So that's why the personal training aspect of the training is so important, because we really need to move in order to activate those places in the brain that are now running into depletion because of lack of activity or just aging itself.
Okay, so is this methodology that you came up with, is it almost like an anti-aging? I mean, we can't stop aging, but does it tweak it?
That is I love that question, and my favorite way to describe it is just looking at the president. Regardless of how you vote, you go into office, that person comes out like they stepped into a time machine. You know, they look so like if they're archaic.
Yeah, it's
and
true. That one of them looks the same.
And we're really asking ourselves, what happened? Did that, like, my goodness, I didn't know you aged that fast.
Right,
and it's
they
really,
put it on fast forward.
And it's really not that. What happens is that they are under so much pressure. They're not getting as much sleep. They're under immense amount of stress. And what happens is, and the way I like to describe it, since we're using 4 quadrants, is basically think of it as wheels on a car. And what happens is that the front brake tire runs out, and then what happens is that you're grinding on the rotors. And this is what happens in terms of increasing the aging process, is you're grinding on the gears. And you can buffer those gears once you identify where you might be in neurodepletion. And once again, that's what we do here, is identify where you might be depleted, and also identifying your personality, your core personality, so that way we can give you the right lifestyle choices.
So Dane, I know that you're super passionate about what you do.
Oh, so much.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So what made you go this direction? Like, because, you know, oftentimes people find the answer and then they use it for themselves. But you take this and you crusade for this cause, and you're passionate and you're really good at what you do. So my question to you is, how, why?
And this is a very loaded question, and I can go on and on. Honestly, it's a lot deeper than what I'm going to give as the answer. But ultimately, I suffered from an autoimmune disease, psoriasis, and for me personally, I kind of cleared it up, taking care of my diet and my lifestyle. Those are the 2 clear things that I did, and it kind of cleared up itself. But I also was diagnosed with ADD and dyslexia as a young youth. And I found that not only was I physiologically improved, but I also was cognitively improved. I can sit still, I can learn. And these things went hand in hand as I started taking care of myself. And it helped me ask the questions, well, how far does this go? Not just using it as a place to kind of heal people who are dampened, but what's the highest level of that psychological expression? What's the highest level we can go? And so that's why I really romanticize superheroes. I always do superheroes.
Yeah,
because I always feel like the highest level we can go is, quote unquote, these superheroes or gods, and that's what I romanticize in regards to what would be the highest level of, quote unquote, my archetype, which is an INFP or healer. So when I'm doing the personal training, I feel so fulfilled, because I genuinely feel like I'm healing people. I can see people come in, lose 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, and then they're transformed, not just physically, but the confidence, the excitement, the enthusiasm for life is there too. Right. And so for me, it was very easy to see the connection between the brain and the body as a result. Right. And so I just really got on board in regards to trying to tap into that psychological aspect. Right. And it led me to studying the Myers-Briggs and the typology, and obviously, what would be the highest expressions, romanticizing and using my imagination. And that's what kind of led me to this expression here at Synergy Health Lab, which is, once again, tapping into the mind and body, but using Western rhetoric, like Carl Jung typology. This isn't, you know, stars and chakras and that. It's science. And it's nice when the, you know, the Forbes 500 company use it to position talent, but why aren't we using it to become emotionally healthy and reach our highest potential? And so that's why I say, once again, it's more for me about not just personal training, but being a life coach and helping inspire these higher expressions. And we use that once again through the myths and the mythology. And once again, I use superheroes as a general template, but we can use any artistry as that expression.
Okay.
I have a question here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Is this good for teenagers?
Oh, 100%. I find that teenagers struggle with self-esteem more than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I was a youth mentor. I have a background in youth mentor. I'm trained in that. So I work with youth as a big brother in middle schools and things like that. And I found that not just being honest with them, you know, admitting your flaws and being humble and exposing your, you know, weaknesses as a human being, help them grow, but helping romanticize the best parts of their character traits. So that's, again, tapping into the superheroes, giving them nicknames, was ways that I would do this as a youth mentor. And so once again, why aren't we doing that in our day-to-day life?
Okay.
You know, and so with teens, it only gets magnified because they are so young. The emotions are so violent in their
so
expression.
erratic,
And so
yeah.
if we can channel that,
Right.
you know, and rather
Right.
than letting them feel crappy emotions, why can't we let them tap into the positive psychology? And the thing is, we're always trying to nurse and put band-aids on the psychology, but what, once again, is the highest expression? You have somebody who's amazing, who's smart, who's brilliant, but isn't there another level we can tap into in terms of psychology? Using the psychology to push them to another inspired level.
Yeah.
And that's how I genuinely feel. I'm sick of making it average and reaching for average. I want to reach for another level. And so
Right.
using these templates has been ways that I've been able to do that.
Okay. What fascinates me most is the fact that he's a trendsetter. He is a thought leader. He has taken things that you've learned throughout your lifetime, not just in personal experience, but the things that you've studied, and you've actually brought it all together. And you have this amazing program that blew me away because, again, I mean, losing weight is easy. You go to whatever. I mean,
Cut your calories, you work out more.
You
and
go to
that's
Weight
great.
Watchers and you lose the weight.
And that's great, but that
most
still is not
people
tapping
have-
into
right, because most people have this
that fluctuating.
this
they're-
fluctuating.
they're
It's a
in
roller
weight
coaster.
And it's more the emotional roller coaster. And so how do we dampen that? And I use a lot of mythology, I use a lot of psychology, but people get bored with the rhetoric of psychology, so we use the mythology in here. And the mythology is, and I you know, the influences within that is like Joseph Campbell, Carl Jung, once again. And these type of influences have pushed me to understanding that these aren't just stories. You know, I'm very spiritual and I have a very strong religious background. The Bible is not just stories, but there's lessons in there, in these hidden myths in there that will help you, once again, tap into a higher expression. Right. Now, why do we have to make it different? Why can't the Superman be just as inspiring? And that's really what it is. Jesus is Christian's Superman. I'm just saying this is our modern artistry. Why can't, if people are so interested in that and not this, let's use those stories, let's use those myths, once again, to inspire a higher expression. Okay. Let's use art how it's designed to be used, is basically what I say.
Right, right, absolutely. I love that. And the reality is that bringing that to life, you know, and oftentimes we need to go back because, you know what, our ancestors were doing something right there. These people were living to 200, 300, 400 years. So what were they doing? And, you know, that we're not doing. And that to me, that's the caveat here. We need to go back. And that's what you've done.
We're missing something. And the real thing is, like, and I'm just going to go ahead and I hate getting political in this regard. But myths, basically, and this is Joseph Campbell, are a uniting force. Their ability to connect people to each other is phenomenal. Phenomenal. And we have this, you know, I want to say we're in a state, an environment, and this is just the last political cycle, where we're in such division. And it's because we don't have a unifying myth. We don't see eye to eye in regards to our spiritual ethos, the myth that unites us. And so when I tap into that, it's basically trying to tap into something underneath, you know, what we've been conditioned to as human beings. And that's what the myths are basically for, is once again to help us connect, to help us tap into our deeper level of spiritual self, and to help us become the highest expression on an external level. But once again, we don't understand how to use the myths properly. We're almost myth illiterate. And so when I come in here, I use like just something as simple as a Green Lantern symbol, and it just has an immense power, especially dealing with the specific archetypes that hero illustrates.
Okay,
so,
fabulous.
Yeah.
We have a little audience here, which I'm really excited about, and we have another question from our audience.
Well, my question is, a lot of people have struggles with their eating habits. How do you help generate good eating habits in their diet?
And this is
more permanent
100%,
change, right? Okay.
And once again, and I hate getting existential, but for me, I feel like a lot of the eating habits deal with the lack of unfulfillment. It's almost like you're trying to fulfill yourself on a physical level because you feel unfulfilled on an emotional level. And this is me talking from experience. When I found the personal training, because I wasn't always a personal trainer and always so, I want to say, emotionally vibrant. Basically, after I started tapping into the things that excited me as a human being, I felt like a sense of extra energy, and I didn't need as much food because I was tapping into emotional energy, not just chemical energy. And that's what I feel like inspiration really is. And when you can help people tap into, quote unquote, their Myers-Briggs through these myths, it helps offer a connection to fulfillment. And when you're fulfilled on an emotional level, you don't need to be fulfilled on a physical level, I feel. And that's been the general expression here. As people lose weight, and they only have to see me 2 times a week, which I'm always fascinated by myself.
Okay. Okay.
And let me ask you another question I have. In terms of, there's a lot of people out there that are on a lot of different medications, and, you go to the doctor and they give you a medication for anxiety, let's say.
Okay, like a Xanax or a Valium?
And you go back and before you know it, you have 6 and 7 different medications that you're on for this same illness. How does working out and with you, how can you eliminate some of the medication that you have your clients
that's a very sensitive question, only because that's a little bit outside my pay grade, but I can kind of offer just a little bit of insight on, once again, my experience. I have been to therapists and shrinks just in my own personal life, just throwing it out there. And I have been prescribed lithium for my eccentric excitement, okay, which is almost a brain dampening drug, similar to like the Xanax or the lithium. And the reason I know this because I looked it up. I looked it up because I didn't want to have to take the medicine. I basically was trying to look for an alternative approach. Now, when you're trying to get balance on a personal level, it's better to do it once again before you start taking medicine. Once you start taking medicine, please just stay on track. Stay with the medical prescription, stay on medical course. Because when you start removing those chemicals from the brain, you create neural depletion. Basically, what you're taking in on a physical level, the brain now is smart enough to recognize, well, we don't have to make that chemical. So if you remove it, now we're really creating imbalances here. Okay,
and I can attest to that as a therapist. Oftentimes, our clients, when I was running a clinic, I was a regional director for mental health services, and one of the main problems that we had was that once people felt well, they wanted to get off of the medication. They'd get off of the medication and they crashed. Not only would they crash, it was worse than before they took the medication.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I agree full-heartedly, and this is something that I've experienced as well. Right. So once again, that's Nilda's area, my area. If you're trying to transition before you take medicine, let's talk about before you're going into that route. This is more preventative. If you're feeling not quite like yourself, you see me. If you're like whacked, please consult a professional. Like, I can't stress that enough, because I have people here thinking I could solve their problems on that level. I'm here to train you. I'm here to get you fit. Now I'm here to tap into a higher level on a psychological end, but I am no way a therapist.
Okay, all right, and that's good. I mean, it's good that you recognize that and that people recognize. Now, if somebody is on medication and they wanted to tap into this, while they're still doing that, is there a way that maybe you can work with them? Because that's important too.
Always. There's
Okay.
there's always a benefit from not only just working out, but trying to really align yourself with your emotional body. There will always be a benefit with that, no matter who you are and no matter what level, what medicine you are in. I genuinely believe being yourself, being authentic to your emotional body will just accelerate emotional or mental healing.
Okay.
And so that's what I try to tap into with the Myers-Briggs.
Okay. All right. And that's fabulous, because I don't want people to think that it's this or that. You know, they can use it in combination because it's important. You know, and there's my brother-in-law, I can attest to this, had diabetes, and he was so sick that they were like, it's a miracle that you did not get a stroke. Now, he took that medication because at that moment, he needed that medication.
100%.
However, he changed his eating habits. He changed his exercise habits. He changed his lifestyle. And then he was able to wean off of the medication, and today he doesn't need it at all.
That's beautiful.
So, but he, you know, to say, well, I'm not going to take my medication, or if I take medication, then I don't need that. It's a myth. That's a myth.
That's a little bit, yeah. Once again, that's way. I can't emphasize how much I agree with Dr. Perez right here, and it's because of the fact that it's a little bit dangerous when you're playing with those neurochemicals. And this is my biggest objection. Just me, from an outside perspective, who was prescribed lithium. The doctor barely knew my name. He had to ask me before he signed it. And this is, once again, me personally, I don't want to put my shoes on anybody else, but the doctor didn't know my name, and I felt a certain way about that. And I've obviously read tons of brain books, obviously, it's a redundancy, but Dr. Daniel Amen emphasizes his distaste for the psychological practice, because you can have a guy who set a bone 10,000 times, 1,000 times, will still take a picture. But yet we won't take a picture before we prescribe things as powerful as lithium or Valium or Xanax. We won't take a picture of the brain, which we have the capacity to do.
So that's something.
And you can't even get the bone set. The guy could have done it a million times. You can see it, probably set it himself with his hands, because he has so much experience. But they're not allowed to on a physical level. Now, what gives them permission to do it on a psychological level? And that has been my objection. And so I've been trying to offer something. Just from my, passionate experiences, I want to, because I didn't have something to go to when I was in that transitional pace where they, quote unquote, my partner wanted me to take this chemical, and I was not doing it. And so I would like people to understand, if you're on the chemical, by all means, stay on that medical approach. But if you're right in that transitionary period, that's where you might want to consider maybe working out. You may want to consider diet changes, looking at your sleep habits more intimately, because these are probably the issues, and you're taking a chemical that's throwing you way off in balance. But once you started made that choice, please do not go off that path unless you have professional guidance. Once again, I am just here as that segue, trying to be preventative.
But I love, this is so necessary, because, again, to be able to tap into that brain and make that, honestly, it's that merger of both. I think, to me, is so key. I love it. I love his.
Thank you.
I love your passion. I love your message, because to me, it is just a life changer, an absolute life changer. So, my goodness.
I have one more question.
Oh, go ahead. I love this participating audience. I love it.
Yeah.
If anyone out there also has a question,
please
put it on Facebook Live.
Yes.
People that I have problems with my bones, as you're quite aware of, and my back. I have back issues. I have sciatic problems. I have
numbness.
Neuropathy in my hands. I also have with the hands that
Carpal tunnel.
Carpal tunnel.
Yeah.
How does
issues?
Yeah.
oh yeah, bones. They're all gone.
Okay. We're dropping you off at the hospital.
How can because I try yoga, you know, because they say the stretching is good for the bones. But what other things can I do to help myself be more flexible, be more active because of my condition?
That is a very loaded question. I'm going to kind of stay within the subject that we're talking about. I'll tap into like the physical stuff a little bit, but really I want to kind of stay within the subject which we're talking about.
Okay.
You know, first of all, I wouldn't want, if you're talking spine, if you're talking things like that, I would want as little gravity on you as possible. Even though that is counterproductive in regards to building bone density, with the spine you have to be delicate and you want to build more dynamic strength. Flexibility, mobility, and strength in more of those different planes if it's a spinal issue. Now if you're talking bones and pain and going back to the brain stuff, in which is something that once again I feel like is the exciting aspect of this subject, you can lower your sensitivity to pain, you can relax the nervous system, because we forget that the brain melts into the nervous system. And what happens is 90% of all the hormones are made in the brain. So the ability to heal is hidden in the brain, the ability to relax is hidden in the brain, the ability to basically be even pliable is hidden in the brain. And so when we talk about raising serotonin or GABA or these type of neurochemicals, you can do it through diet, supplementation. The yoga is great, but the yoga, as I like to tell, is a very relaxive loosening up, which works hand in hand with a lot of like the back brain stuff. And this is, once again, it gets very deep and intimate based on each specific personality too. So ultimately, to answer your question in short, pool, do some weight training to make sure you're building bone density, and then try to loosen up the nervous system doing things like, I like to call it glutamine. You can use glutamine, which is basically a precursor to GABA, and you can use amino, which is basically a trick to use. You can try it at a grocery store, at Walmart. Actually, I think it's right down the road. I pick it up, $15, and it's called amino acid therapy. It's a technique that you can use. You just load the water up with the amino acid GABA or glutamine, and it will convert into GABA straight by the brain. And these type of tricks are the type of things we tap into in Synergy Health Lab. Rather than just looking at exclusive at a body perspective, we try to tap into the mind and the healing aspects of the mind.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So Dane, I want you to walk me through. I walk into your door. I want you to walk me through the process. I walk into your door, and I want to look good. I want to lose weight. That's all I'm thinking.
Okay.
So I'm like, Synergy Health Lab, he does stuff that's different. I want this. What is the process?
Well, first I would want to check your body fat, because I think a lot of people have a misconception with weight loss and body fat loss. You can look beautiful, phenomenal at weights that you would think are horrific. And this is what we talk about: body fat and balancing your hormones. If you're if you're a female in this 20% body fat range, you are like gorgeous. And it's really because what we're doing is, as human beings, in regards to looking beautiful or looking attractive or sexy, we're scanning for health, really.
Okay.
It's like a quick scan. Oh man, that person's attractive. Ooh. And it really, what you're scanning for is he standing up straight? Because the last time I checked, when people walk around like this is not the sexy walk. No. You know, this is not the pimp where I'm picking up girls at the club walk.
I don't think so.
Yeah, there's a little swagger. It's like, I'm healthy, I'm a good looking guy. You know, you have that, but you ain't gonna be walking like that if your back's all jacked up. So, you know, basically we're scanning for health real quickly, and that will relay if this is a good mate. The psychological stuff is also very powerful in that regard, because you can connect better. Once you start understanding, and Synergy Health Lab doesn't just help you become educated on yourself, but help you understand the other archetypes so you can better engage with your family, with your friends, with your partner, with your mate, because you can better understand them. And this will lower stress, and lowering stress is a straight connection to lowering body fat.
Of course.
And so when people come in here, people come in here, they can expect to learn about themselves, learn about other people, lower their body fat, lower their stress, and they only have to see me 2 times a week. If you want to see me more, I'll be happy to talk your ear off, but it's not required. You know, I try to teach people how to get the highest result for the most minimal output. which is, I feel, efficiency. It's getting results in a short period of time.
Right.
Isn't that what we all want? The minimal amount of work with the highest amount of yield? I feel like that's what the whole thing in regards to success is all about. So that's what I offer people, is that perspective and that approach.
Okay, I love it. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you,
right now, the best way to get a hold of me, obviously you're on Facebook Live, just message me on Facebook. Dane Marrero is my name. You see the Green Lantern shirt, you'll see me on my profile, just because that's the media in which I teach through, but I teach through any artistry. If it's out there, chances are they have to use those typologies for it to be a real, beautiful expression. So, I teach, do workshops, public speaking, youth mentor. Really, it's life coaching. I just really, at the end of the day, want people to be the best version of themselves. And for me, I romanticize the superhero, so I just want, like I said, to build people who can save the world. And
awesome.
They set that example, they'll do it.
If they are, I know that a lot of people are on Facebook, but let's say they want to call you and
I would
message
say
you.
Message me on Facebook. I mean, not message me on Facebook, but email me. Marrero Dane. You can use my full name, just MARRERO _Dane @gmail.com. Send me an email. Send me your concerns. If you even have questions, that will be the best place. I'll check it. I'll answer it. I'll send it back to you, and then we can have a dialogue. We can have a conversation and see if this is right for you. Because I try not to take people that it doesn't necessarily fit. I try to align myself with my own archetypes.
Okay, awesome. So here's a question. This is my last question is, so if they're not local, will you not be able to work with them?
Not necessarily. I do FaceTime, which, I'll be engaging with the person, because the real power of this type of approach is the conversation. Being able to talk to people, being able to let them be open and offering them a sense of security in being themselves is very powerful, and people are really missing out on that. So that's why, once again, I'm a personal trainer, but I really position myself more as a life coach.
Okay, I love it. I love it, because you change lives.
That's what I try to do. That's the intention.
Okay. So I want to thank you, Dane, for this.
Thank you.
This has been awesome. I think this is going to help a lot of my audience, and because this information for me is powerful. I spent time hours talking to Dane about this, and
100%.
He was so excited, and it was awesome information. And he's my godson, and I absolutely adore him.
Thank you.
And he is my favorite godson, my only godson.
I better be your favorite.
He has an advantage.
I hate that one. It's that one. I can't stand him.
So this is beauty. So, but I think why I brought him here is not because he's my godson, but because his message is so powerful. And if you have any questions, please put them on Facebook. He will answer all the questions. He'll keep checking, and he'll answer all of your questions. But
100%.
I tell you, seriously think about this, because his message is powerful, and it's not just about the weight loss. It's so much more. It's so much more powerful than that. All right, guys?
Can you just spell out your email address again?
100%. MARRERO _DANE @gmail.com. That is the best place to contact me, especially if you're through this forum. If you message me on Facebook as well, it'll be very easy for me to apply. Just friend me. I'm pretty easy to talk to, especially on that media.
Yeah.
And that's in the Orlando area, right?
I'm located, Orlando, Oviedo specifically, but Orlando area, 100%. Greater Orlando area.
Your contact with them is not subject to just in person. They can speak to you over FaceTime.
They can do FaceTime, and
I would
like to engage with the individuals before through email. Chances are they'll have access to the test, and then from there I'd like to engage in them personally on a one-on-one, because I'll have accurate insights to give them at that point.
Perfect. Thank you.
Fabulous. Okay, thank you, guys, and we have a few more pop-ups set up for this week. Listen to this, share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with anybody that has this type of problem, because or wants not just weight loss, but wants a lifestyle change.
Balanced lifestyle, for sure.
There you go. I want you to share it with everyone. All right, thank you so much for being here, and see you soon. I want to thank you for being with us on Business Foresight, always creating strategies towards an extraordinary future. Remember, I'm here with you with strategies every Saturday. I'll see you next week.